You might have been there too, so I apologize if it's a little redundant. And God spoke these words saying, I am the eternal your God. This is from Exodus chapter 20, verses 1 through 14 make up our first introduction to the 10, later to be repeated in Deuteronomy. I am the eternal your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Any thoughts? Why does God refer to Egypt here? This came up on Saturday, but I wanted to bring it here since it's striking. This is how God identifies God's self as God who brought you out of Egypt, not God who did anything else, as in created the universe or the world, but God who brought you out of Egypt. Why?
One of my very wise mentors explains that the definition of Mitzrayim is a tight space. And when you're brought out of it, God brings us out of tight spaces if we allow it to happen.
Oh, yep, Mark. I think I did bring this up Saturday, so sorry to the Saturday Shabbat morning people.
Yeah, I mean, ditto what he said. But I think that, it was like one of the lowest points in our lives, right? And it was an opportunity for us to take. We didn't have to accept it, right? We decided to, we chose to. And I think that it's basically God reminding us that, hey, listen, at the end of the day, you decided to follow me or heed my word that, if you follow me, I will bring you out of Egypt. I will bring you out of this slavery, this prison, so you could be free. However, these are the rules.
Yeah, so God speaking, which we brought up before, is it more resonant because it's personal experience for the people of Israel, right? You could say, oh, I created the world, and people might say, that's pretty difficult to comprehend. But hey, remember when that sea parted, you guys were there? That was me. Remember that? Not that long ago. So do we require personal experience with God, again, to believe? Or, go ahead. Sure. Yeah, and that almost has that moving into the second part, right, where we have. So is this God a jealous God that we hear about? I am the eternal your God who brought you out of Egypt. You shall have no other gods before me. What gods is God referring to? No other gods before me. The idols. What other gods? We talked about this too. Ego. So something a little more esoteric. Or perhaps, right, what happens when Moses goes to receive commandments on Mount Sinai and he's gone for a little bit longer than they thought? What happens? Egel HaZahav, right? The golden calf. So is this a jealous God, or is this a God who really understood these people? That they needed to be told, someone brought it up, and it might have been someone here, that, I don't know if this is an insulting comparison, but it's like toddlers in the desert. That was Kate. I loved it. The mom of the soon-to-be rabbi, so it makes sense. I loved that, though. You said there was like toddlers in the desert. They needed to be told. So is that where the language comes from? The moral development. So thank you to Kate Bennett for that. I really liked that toddler sort of wandering, toddling in the desert. That spoke to me. Arnie, yeah, go ahead.
Sometimes we refuse to see the miracles in front of us. We have to be reminded of them. There's the story about the Israelite who was walking through the Red Sea, and the only thing he said is, look at all this mud.
Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
So, not to say that they were sheepish, but, in essence, Moses was the shepherd, right? And he was leading the sheep through the desert, right? And, I don't know if anybody's interacted with sheep before. I haven't. But...
I thought we were in for a good story.
Yeah, right? No, but I imagine it's difficult to get a whole group of people who, were just getting by, right? Getting them all together. They definitely all had different opinions, thoughts, processes, all that. And then, just to be able to, get them together and stay as a unit, you definitely need law. You need something to keep everybody together. Otherwise, it's like a free-for-all. So.
Yeah, that's great. So I know it's getting close. I wanted to bring up the first 4 commandments deal with the relationship between God and people. The final commandments, 6 through 10, deal with the relationship between people and other people. Do not murder, do not commit adultery, etc., etc. The 5th commandment is the parents. Honor your father and mother. So, my question is, why the insertion of the 5th commandment there? Why? I don't want to give my thoughts away, but any thoughts as to why that commandment is located where it is?
So I think that literally it belongs in the human camp, but it's also a metaphor for God's relationship with the Jewish people as a parent. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Any other? Yeah, go ahead.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Abraham already happened at this point, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I think it relates to Abraham.
Okay,
Because this is technically the God of Abraham, right?
sure.
So you're honoring your parents. That's part of the tradition, right? Or that's what your parents believe. So honor your mother and father. I could interpret it as,
Sure.
Hey, honor the God of Abraham.
Okay. So keeping it sort of in that God camp. Carol Ann, yeah.
I think you could also look at it for the continuity, all right? If you honor what your mother and father are, the chances are that you will continue in their footsteps. And so there will be the continuity of the Jewish people of Israel to last and go on and on.
Yeah, I really like that. All right, I saw the hand.
It's really a perfect transition from the 4 about God and the last 4 about people. Now we're talking about godlike people, the parents that created us. And then I think it's the Shabbat where we're really honoring ourselves on the Shabbat. So it's really a transition between the first 4 and the last 4.
Yeah, I tend to think of it like that way too. I think as a combination of a lot of these things, but when we're, again, that metaphor of toddlers toddling through the wilderness. Also, I remember being a child then, whether that's for good or for, not so good, the parent or parent figure is almost like a god when you're young. These people are leading me, and I'm essentially helpless at the beginning. And hopefully they're teaching me that transition from this relationship, which is very almost insular, to socializing, to how to act among other people so that it can continue. So it's right in that middle, that transition, that liminal space between the relationship between God and people and other people are those parental figures. And that can be our parents or whoever raises us and helps to raise us, perhaps, and also God as well. So Heidi, yeah. And then I guess we should probably move into the sanctuary, but keep the sheet. There's so much more to discuss, always.
Um, what you were saying is very much the direction that I want to take it, and I was teaching this in the context of teaching my students about menschhood and honoring your parents, that this commandment is together with the first 5 of mitzvot between a person and their God, and not between a person and other people, because honoring your parents is part of the mitzvot of like between a person and God. It's up there. Leman yarichun yamecha, right? And the same way that God created you, your parents created you, right? They were all part of that creation of you, and almost, in tandem over there. So that's why it's part of those 5.
Yeah, I like that. And I'll leave you with this, and then we can move in. Just something to ponder, so that we can have a conversation the next time I see you, or you can let me know what you think. The commandments end with what it seems to be telling us: do not do this, do not do that, do not do this. Right? Don't murder. Right? Don't commit adultery. Don't steal. Coveting. Is coveting an action, or is it a state of mind? And how can we command someone to have a certain state of mind? And that is how I'll end this. Something to consider. And I welcome you into the, there is a list of honors. It's handwritten by me. So if we have our honors for the evening, candle lighting and Torah service, etc. So please feel free. We will do a group aliyah, so that's not on there. So, see you in the sanctuary. Thank you all so much.
Beautiful
questions. There's a lot there. It's like, which one to ask?
Rabbi, Ethan Tucker, Shai Held, those are people who started Hadar.
Yes. Chag Sameach, everybody. It's great to see you all here on this Shavouot, this Erev Shavouot, Zaman Matan Toratenu, the season of our giving of the Torah, which is one of our Shalosh Regalim, our 3 pilgrimage festivals. And Shavuot Sameach to all of you joining us via live stream as well. You can find on page 384 of your Mishkan Tefillah our kindling of the Yom Tov lights. And to do so, for us, I would like to invite up to the Bima Saul Price.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu le'adlik ner shel Shabbat.
של יום טוב.
של יום טוב.
Yom Tov, Amen. We continue at the bottom of the page with the Shehechianu. We thank God during this festival for giving us life, for sustaining all of us, and enabling us to reach this moment with a Shehechianu.